I bought this diary knowing it was a Depression diary, but I didn't know who it belonged to until I opened it up. It was a woman by the name of Viola, and she wrote for 5 years in this diary. And what I learned in here was nothing I expected to learn. Her name appears to have been Viola Leitner, and I've traced her to Hartford, Michigan. I didn't inherit this. Viola wasn't one of my relatives, and I simply found her diary and bought it. But you know what happens to me when I find something like this? I have to know the story. And Viola gave me quite a lot of work to work with. She wrote in this diary for 5 years, starting in 1930. So that's where I decided to start, 1930. Remember, the stock market had just crashed in October of 1929. So I went through Viola's entries expecting to find the Depression, and something strange happened. At first, I couldn't find it, not in the way I expected to. There isn't a dramatic entry saying, "The Great Depression has arrived." Instead, Viola writes about the weather, visitors, family, trips, illness, household activities, Christmas, little amounts of money, and then it hit me. Viola didn't know she was living in a history book. She was just living. Look at September 13th, 1930. Viola starts her entry talking about a little shower that morning. Think about that. We look backward and see the Great Depression. Viola woke up and noticed the rain. Other entries mention people visiting, household activities, someone being ill, telephone calls, and family members coming and going. These aren't earth-shattering events. That's precisely why I love them. Then, history books tell us what happened to America. Viola tells us what happened on Tuesday. Then I found another entry that made me stop. In September, Harrison and Jeannie apparently returned from a trip that had lasted about 2 weeks. Now, I don't know who Harrison and Jeannie are yet, but a 2-week trip in 1930? That doesn't fit the picture I had in my head. I think many of us imagine the stock market just crashed and suddenly everyone was destitute. But that's not what Viola's diary is showing me, at least not yet. People are still traveling, visiting, calling each other, celebrating things, living. And then when my question changed, here's what I found. I stopped asking, what does Viola say about the Great Depression, and started asking, when can I see the Depression began changing Viola's life? This is the main open loop. That's what I'm going to watch for. Does their food change? Do they travel? Do purchases disappear? Do Christmas gifts get smaller? Does someone lose work? Do family members begin helping each other? Maybe Viola never writes the words Great Depression, but maybe we'll find out something between the lines. And then I reach December. Viola keeps writing. Christmas comes. Life continues. Eventually I got to December 31st, and naturally I thought, that's the end of the year. Except it wasn't the end of Viola's records. Look what she did. She used the pages in the back of the diary too. There are names, dates, dollar amounts, list, and then I found pages headed Christmas cards sent. And I thought, oh, Viola, you have given me a treasure map. That's a much more than just a line in a history book, because now I can start investigating these names. And I think I'm beginning to understand why I love doing this so much. I'm not really collecting old books. I'm finding forgotten stories. Stories of ordinary people who probably never imagined anybody would care about details of their lives 100 years later. But I care. I want to know. What did you eat, Viola? What did things cost? What did you give someone for Christmas? Where did you go? What made you happy? What scared you? What did an ordinary Tuesday look like? And then, here's the really exciting part. Viola kept writing. So we're not finished in 1930. There are more years waiting, and I'm going to keep reading. The letters are faint. I have to use a magnifying glass, but I want to see whether or not we can actually watch the Depression unfold through this woman's life. Not through politicians, not through economists, not through a textbook, through Viola. Guy left me his ledger. My dad left me his letters. A $10 genealogy book opened another door, and somehow Viola's diary found its way to me. I wonder what we'll discover next. Because the stories may be old, but the adventure of finding them isn't. Curiosity never retires. I'll see you in the next adventure.